The sacred steam of awakening before coffee became a symbol of productivity and hustle. It was a symbol of prayer. Long before the first cafes buzzed with conversation, monks and mystics gathered around the humble bean, not for stimulation, but for stillness. Every sip was an act of devotion, every aroma a reminder of something divine lingering in the air. Coffee, in its earliest form, was not about staying awake for work. It was about staying awake to life itself. Coffee beyond the cup. We often think of coffee as a morning ritual, a tool to start the day. But coffee, at its core, is something much deeper. A bridge between the physical and the spiritual, between the human and the transcendent. From the misty Ethiopian highlands to the Sufi lodges of Yemen, from Turkish hearths to Parisian cafes, coffee has journeyed through history as both a social bond and a sacred elixir. Each bean carries a story of transformation, harvested from the earth, scorched by fire, ground into dust, and reborn through water. In this alchemy lies the mirror of our own existence. We, too, are shaped by heat and pressure, only to emerge renewed and alive. To ancient Sufi mystics, coffee was a companion to meditation, a divine aid that kept the spirit awake through long nights of chanting and reflection. To Ethiopians, it was a symbol of community, a shared experience that united hearts. Even today, though we often rush through our mornings, coffee still holds the power to pull us into presence. It invites us to pause, to breathe, to listen to the silence between sips. Because when you slow down enough, you begin to sense what coffee has whispered through the ages. That awakening is not just about opening your eyes, it's about opening your awareness. So, when the aroma fills your space tomorrow morning, remember, you are partaking in an ancient ceremony, one that has crossed deserts, temples, and centuries to reach your hands. You're not just drinking coffee. You're participating in a timeless act of consciousness. The ancient roots. From Ethiopian highlands to Sufi sanctuaries. Legend says coffee was discovered by a herder named Kaldi in Ethiopia, who noticed his goats dancing after eating red berries. But beyond folklore, coffee soon became part of spiritual practice. In 15th century Yemen, Sufi monks used coffee to sustain their midnight meditations, calling it the drink of remembrance. To them, each sip was a way to stay awake with God, to heighten presence, and to dissolve the barrier between body and spirit. From there, coffee spread along ancient trade routes, from Mecca to Cairo, Istanbul to Venice, carrying with it whispers of prayer, poetry, and community. Coffee as a ritual of awakening. Coffee has always been more than a drink. It is a ceremony of transformation. From the first grind of the bean to the final sip, it invites us to move with intention, to slow down and experience the sacred rhythm hidden in ordinary acts. Each step of the process, grinding, boiling, pouring, mirrors the stages of awakening. The beans, once silent, are crushed into potential. The water, once still, is brought to a boil, chaos before clarity. And when the two meet, aroma rises like incense, a quiet offering to the moment itself. Across many cultures, this process has long been treated as an act of mindfulness. In Ethiopia, where the coffee ceremony remains a cornerstone of daily life, the ritual unfolds slowly and deliberately. The air fills with the sound of crackling beans and the deep, earthy perfume of roast. It is said that this aroma carries a blessing, a cleansing of energy, a calling for peace. 3 rounds of coffee are prepared, each holding symbolic meaning. The first cup, a ball, is the invitation, the beginning of connection. The second, tona, deepens conversation, the bridge of trust and warmth. The third, baraka, brings blessing, a moment where hearts align and gratitude flows freely. To refuse coffee in this setting is almost unthinkable. It's not merely rejecting a beverage, but declining communion. Even beyond Ethiopia, echoes of this reverence persist. In the Middle East, serving coffee remains an expression of honor, hospitality, and harmony. The host's hands become instruments of care, and every pour speaks a silent language. You are welcome here, you belong. And yet, this ritual of awakening isn't confined to geography or tradition. It lives within us, in the way we start our mornings, in how we hold the cup, in the quiet moment before the first sip. That first sip is a threshold. A pause between sleep and motion. A reminder that awakening isn't just a physical act, it's a spiritual return. When we make coffee with mindfulness, when we grind the beans slowly, listen to the water sing, and feel the warmth against our palms, we are engaging in an ancient form of meditation. It's not about the caffeine. It's about consciousness. The coffee, like a mantra, draws us back to ourselves. So tomorrow, before you rush out the door, try it. Breathe in the scent. Watch the steam rise like prayer smoke. Let your senses open, and with them, your awareness. Because every time you prepare your coffee with intention, you're not just brewing a drink. You're practicing an art as old as enlightenment itself, the ritual of awakening. The modern revival. Coffee is mindfulness in motion in our fast, hyper-connected world, where every minute hums with notifications and noise. The act of making coffee remains one of the last quiet rituals left. It is a moment untouched by algorithms, a ritual that still belongs entirely to the human hand, the human breath, the human pause. For many, coffee has evolved from an ancient ceremony to a modern mindfulness practice. It's no longer just a beverage to wake up the body, it's a gentle ritual to awaken the soul. When you pour water over freshly ground coffee, you witness something ancient unfold in a modern setting, a slow bloom, a quiet surrender, a transformation. The aroma that rises becomes an anchor, pulling you back from distraction into the now. Each swirl, each drip, is a reminder that presence isn't found in haste. It's found in the rhythm of simple things done beautifully. In today's culture, the coffee shop has become the new sanctuary. The hum of espresso machines replaces the chants of old temples. The aroma of roasted beans fills the air like sacred incense. And within that space, writers, dreamers, thinkers, and wanderers find a kind of peace that technology can't replicate. These modern sanctuaries invite solitude and connection at once. You can be alone yet surrounded by gentle human energy, each person engaged in their own form of reflection. To sit with your cup is to reclaim stillness. To feel its warmth between your palms is to remember you are alive. To sip slowly is to engage in a meditation, one that requires no mantra, no special place, only attention. Even the most minimal rituals, the clinking of the spoon, the hiss of the espresso, the soft rhythm of milk pouring into dark, become like verses in a daily prayer. They teach us patience. They teach us to notice. They teach us that awakening is not reserved for monks or mystics. It can happen anywhere, even in a bustling cafe or a quiet kitchen at sunrise. For some, the morning coffee ritual is a sacred dialogue, between effort and ease, between chaos and calm, between yesterday's fatigue and today's potential. The bean becomes a teacher, humble, dark, and full of wisdom. It reminds us that even something as ordinary as coffee can be extraordinary when done with full awareness. This is the modern revival of coffee's ancient spirit, not in monasteries or mountaintops, but in our own homes and hearts. In a world that glorifies speed, coffee asks us to slow down. In a culture of distraction, it urges us to pay attention. So the next time you stand before your coffee maker or barista, don't rush the ritual. Watch, breathe, listen. Feel how every step connects you to centuries of seekers who found presence in the same act. Because mindfulness doesn't need silence, it just needs sincerity. And sometimes, the most profound meditation begins not with a chant, but with the gentle sound of coffee dripping into a cup. The spiritual symbolism of coffee is more than taste and aroma. It is a quiet language of symbols, speaking to the deeper layers of the human experience. Within its darkness and warmth lies a spiritual philosophy that has shaped cultures and rituals for centuries. Hot beverage darkness as depth, coffee's deep, rich color reflects the mystery within us, the unexplored corners of the mind and soul. Like the night sky, it reminds us that awakening begins in darkness. We must face the unknown, the silence, the internal shadows, before we can see the light of clarity. Coffee teaches us that there is beauty in what is hidden, depth in what is not immediately understood. Fire as transformation. Every bean undergoes a trial by fire. It is roasted, cracked open, and transformed, releasing the aroma and essence locked within. So too are we shaped by challenges. Our struggles, like heat, reveal our strength and character. Coffee symbolizes the courage to endure, to change, and to emerge richer and wiser. Droplet water is renewal. When water meets ground coffee, something new is born. The liquid becomes infused with flavor, energy, and identity. This union symbolizes rebirth, the idea that we are constantly becoming, blending past experience with present intention, creating the future sip by sip. Wind face aroma as memory and spirit. The scent of coffee is like incense. It stirs emotion, awakens memory, and connects us to something beyond the physical. It has the power to transport us to childhood mornings, unfamiliar cafes, or meaningful conversations. Aroma reminds us that the soul perceives through the senses, that spirituality is not distant, but right here in our lived experience. Handshake warmth as human connection. A cup of coffee radiates warmth, not just in temperature, but in feeling. It invites closeness. It softens edges. It opens hearts. To share coffee is to share presence. Across languages and borders, offering a cup is a universal gesture of hospitality, peace, and respect. It says, "You are welcomed, you are seen, you are part of this moment." Coffee, in its symbolic fullness, is a reflection of life itself, dark yet illuminating, bitter yet beautiful, simple yet profound. It shows us that spiritual meaning doesn't need to be found in temples or holy texts. It can be discovered in the quiet pleasure of holding a warm cup at dawn. The divine is not always loud. Sometimes, it is a gentle sip that brings you back to yourself. Sip with intention. To drink coffee consciously is to join a lineage of seekers, monks, poets, and dreamers who looked for truth in the steam rising from their cups. So tomorrow morning, before you scroll, pause. Smell your coffee. Feel its warmth. Sip as if it were a prayer. Because in that quiet ritual, you're not just waking up your body, you're awakening your spirit.